What's going on, everybody? David here. Travel video. We're going to do another travel video today. And I'm sorry I didn't put one out yesterday. Usually I do it Sunday at 7 p.m. I got a new computer and I wanted to kind of up my game when it comes to streaming. So I got a heftier computer that can run video and all that in the background. Before, the other computer that I had, it was a good computer, but it was slow. So I wasn't able to really run a lot of different things going. Like I couldn't run a video, get really choppy, and just, it was really bad. Even now with the new computer that I got, it's still a little choppy when you run video during a stream, but it's a much better experience because I put out a couple of videos where I was just, it wasn't on here, on this channel, it was on my other channel, and it was embarrassing. Because I was out of sync, so I'm talking, and the video was just choppy. It was just unbearable. You couldn't even watch it. So I decided to go ahead and get another computer. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about GlobalEntry, TSA Precheck, then we're going to talk about U.S. passports. And the main reason that I wanted to get on here and talk today, and let me make sure everything is running properly before we really delve into the details. So the main reason, if you guys come in the chat, just let me know that you're here to say hi, just so I know that everything is working correctly. Let me know if you can hear me, because I do have issues sometimes with the audio, and so I definitely want to make sure that everything is coming through clearly. So let me flip to my full screen here before we get started. Okay, so we talked about I got the computer, so that's the reason why I didn't do it yesterday. I kind of got a little sidetracked. I got on here ready to do the stream. It was around 6 o'clock, and then realized that I needed to download all the drivers and everything to run the actual video. So I used like a device, like it's called a cam link, and it hooks into your computer, and then that will allow me to use I have a mirrorless camera that I use to shoot the video, so I don't use like a webcam or anything like that. It's just better quality. And so I had it all set up. I was ready to go and hooked up the cam link in there, had everything set up, and the cam link just kept freezing. So the video would run for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then it would just freeze. And so got a little frustrated, and then I figured out, okay, I have to download the drivers. So I downloaded the drivers and then was still working with it, and then I couldn't get the desktop to work, like so you can see the desktop. So it was just it was a disaster. So I just said, you know what, I'm not going to do it yesterday, so I'll just come on today and we'll do the video today. This is different than normal. Usually I'll have it on Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's when I'll continue to do it. Now that I have everything dialed in correctly. I see there's a couple of people in here. Just say hi and let me know if you can hear me. That way we can get started. So like I said, we are going to talk about GlobalEntry, TSA Precheck, and U.S. passports, specifically now because of the government shutdown. How does that affect you getting a passport? How does that affect you getting a TSA Precheck or GlobalEntry? Are you able to still get these things? And I'm in a situation right now, and I have a passport, but it expires in August of this year. So I'm kind of in a situation where I need to renew, because you should have at least 6 months. You shouldn't wait, because you might have some difficulty traveling if you only have 6 months before your passport expires. So that's where I am right now. That's kind of the situation I'm in. I need to renew my passport, so I had to do some information. How you doing, Ricardo? Let me know if you guys are here. So if you guys are in here, just say hi, so I'll know you guys are here. So I had to figure it out. Like, am I gonna be able to get my passport while there's shutdown, or what's gonna happen? So I did some research on my own, and then I'll show you guys what I found. And as far as GlobalEntry and TSA Precheck, just like I tell anyone who will listen, get GlobalEntry. Don't get TSA Precheck, get GlobalEntry, because you'll get both. You'll get GlobalEntry and you'll get TSA Precheck, and it will give you an opportunity to when you're traveling outside of the country, when you come back into the country, you go through the TSA, or I'm sorry, you go through the GlobalEntry line, and I'm telling you, it saves you so much time. It's amazing how much time it saves you. So just to give you an example, when I was in Aruba, and I talked about this last stream, but when I was in Aruba, I didn't really talk about much further I was ahead of my buddy. But me and my buddy got to Aruba's airport. We were on our way coming back home, and got there early, about 3 hours early. What I didn't know is customs, U.S. Customs is in the airport in Aruba. So they do all that there. So all you need to do you go through that whole process there, and then when you get to the U.S., you don't have to go through customs again. So I went through GlobalEntry there. So we're in line together up until GlobalEntry and up until customs, and then he had to wait in a long line, and then I went straight through, and I didn't see him because we were on different flights, so I didn't see him anymore. Like my flight, I almost missed my flight. That's how close it was. So I got right on the plane, but we were about, I think he told me it took him an extra hour, because I told him when I got to the terminal, and I kind of texted him just letting him know, hey, I got on the plane, because I didn't even think I was going to get on the plane. And then I was an hour ahead of him, and we started at the same point, but going through customs, he had to wait an hour to get through customs, where I just took me 5 minutes. So that was pretty good. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about GlobalEntry. We'll talk about TSA Precheck, and then we're also going to talk about U.S. passports during the government shutdown, because I think it's really important to know this, because this can affect you definitely. If you're looking to get a passport, or you're looking to get GlobalEntry, you might run into some problems. I did have someone on here. I can't remember who it was, but they talked a little bit about that, their whole experience with GlobalEntry, trying to get it and all that. So let me flip over to the screen here, and let's see who's in here. Stefan, how you doing? And Ricardo, I already said what's up, Ricardo. I'm well. How's it going? It's going good, Ricardo. I'm doing really good. I got my GlobalEntry card. Cool. So you got his GlobalEntry card. So that plays right into what we're going to talk about today. Now, if you don't know, if you do get GlobalEntry, you will get an actual card. I don't have my wallet with me to show you guys, but you actually do get a card. So it's another form of ID, which is good. So you have another government-issued ID. It's funny, when I went for my interview, there's a customs agent that will interview you. And the interview is very informal. They're just asking you a few questions, and they'll let you know kind of let you know what qualifies, what doesn't. Like if you have a criminal history and all that stuff, you might not qualify. So in my case, that wasn't an issue. But if you do have a criminal history, you might want to look into asking more questions before you do the whole process. It does cost $100 to get GlobalEntry, but like I said, you get GlobalEntry and you get TSA Precheck, so it does make it worth it. But when I was talking with the guy, the customs agent, he was just kind of explaining to me everything and showing me, yeah, you'll get this card, and pretty much he told me you're never really going to use it unless you need to use a government issued ID, unless you need to provide a government ID with your picture on it. You're really not going to use it, but you do have it, so that's pretty good. All right, so let me go ahead and switch over here, and we're going to look at we'll look at the passports first. So what's good about the passports is during a government shutdown, you can still get your passport, or you can still renew your passport. So, and they have the information right here. When you go on their website, they show you right here that they're still working, and they're still pretty much the same process applies as far as the time frame. So if you want to get a passport, the processing time is between 4 and 6 weeks. If you want to expedite it, you can. It's between 2 and 3 weeks. So that's good. That's good to know, because I honestly didn't think about it, but then when the shutdown happened, I started thinking, okay, I need to renew, but am I going to be able to renew my passport? And I'd like to do it sooner than later. Like I'm actually going to do it this week now, because if I want to plan a trip, let's say I want to plan a trip in March, well, now I'm kind of in that period where it's less than 6 months. So I want to hopefully get my passport, my new passport, by that time. Okay, so let's look at some of the info here as far as how to get your passport. So it's pretty. The site's really good. It's a TSA, or not TSA. It's the state Secretary of State website, or Department of State website, and I will post a link right here so you guys can check it out. But it's pretty self-explanatory. It's not hard to do. The main thing is you need to have your documents and everything in order. So the first thing, there are different forms. If you're going to do it in person, then this is the form that you need to fill out. So you need to fill the form out online. If you want to do a mail-in, this is the form that you need, the DS-82. And then if you want to, what is this? If you want to make a change of your name, or if there's a passport error or something like that, then you're going to need to use this DS-5504. Okay, so those are the forms that you need. So you fill out the form online, and then you have to get these documents. So you'll have to have some type of birth certificate or something to prove that you're a U.S. citizen, and then identification. So your California driver's license, or I say California because I live in California, but your state driver's license or your state ID, and then let's see, proof of relationship for children under 16. So if you have children under 16 and you want to get them a birth or a passport as well. Okay, and then photos. Surprisingly, you can take your own photo if you want to. It just needs to be a white background or very light background, and it needs to be 2" by 2". I personally just go, like, I'm a photographer. Like, I know how to take pictures, but I'll just go and get it done. Because I'll print it out. I mean, they print it out and everything. You don't have to worry about it. So I'll pay the little extra money. But you can go to like a UPS store, a variety of different places you can go to get pictures taken. Then you calculate your fees. So this will be different for different people. I believe the passport is like $110. And if you want to get the, let's see here if we can pull it up. If you want to get let's see, yeah, it's $110. If you want to get the passport card, it's $30. And this execution fee is $35. And so you'll have to pay that as well. So it'll be like, what, $145. And then if you want to get the passport book and the card, it's $140 plus $35. So that's kind of the way it is. I think that's right. I'm not sure. You know what? I don't know what this execution fee is. So if you guys do know, let me know. I don't even remember paying that the last time. It's been 10 years since I had that card, or what, 9 years since I got that passport. So the passport card. Now, I got the passport card when I got mine. I went ahead and got them both, so I paid the $140. The only issue, this is the way I look at it. I got that passport card and never used it. Okay, so if you don't live, and I live in Southern California, so I could go across the border, walk across the border to, or not, well, yeah, walk across the border to Tijuana. But I've never used it. I had that thing. I've had it for 9 years. I never took it out of my wallet. As a matter of fact, I stopped even having it. Like, it just put it away. So if you don't live near a border and you don't think that you'll ever use that, I mean, they do the same thing. If you have a passport, an actual passport, you don't need this passport card at all, really. You can use your passport to walk across the border as well as use it when you fly. The passport card, you can't use it when you fly to another country. It really does. You don't need it. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's even worth getting. So just keep that in mind. So those are the fees. Renewal fee, I believe, is about the same. To be honest with you, I think it is $110 if I remember correctly. Yeah, so it's $110 to get the passport book. Now, when you do get a passport, like if you're renewing your passport or you're getting your first passport book, try to get the extra pages with it. You never know what's going to happen in the future. You might get the travel bug like I did. I mean, I got it 9 years ago, and then I used it once. I went to Colombia like 8 years ago, and that's the reason that I wanted to get the passport. And then for 5 years, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't leave the country. I didn't use my passport. Let's just put it that way. I went out of the country, but you can always go. Actually, no, I did use it. So I did use it when I went on cruises, because you can use it when you go on a cruise. You don't have to. I think you can still bring a birth certificate. They'll still allow you to do that. So I used it a couple of times, but I never got a stamp on it. They don't stamp it when you take cruises. So I used it for that, but very infrequently. So it wasn't really until the last 2 years where I really got out there and started using it a lot. So that's kind of how I did it. So when I say get extra pages, you don't know what can happen. I didn't run out of pages in my situation, but you could get to a point where you run out of pages and they don't have anything anywhere to stamp. And if they don't have anywhere to stamp, then you have to send your passport back to the Department of State so they can put more pages on there, but they'll charge you. So if you ask for more pages up front, they're not going to charge you anything extra. But if you do wait and you have to get more pages in the future, then they'll charge you. So just be aware of that. So the good news is U.S. passports, even during a government shutdown, you can still get them. And so that's good. Now, the TSA Precheck and GlobalEntry is a whole different story. As you see right here, I'm on the front page of their website, and in big letters, they're explaining to you they haven't updated the site since December 21st, 2018, and they won't be updating the site until what they say appropriations are enacted. So basically, until there's funding, they're not going to update the site, and they're not accepting. I think you might still be able to go through the process. It doesn't. Let's see the website. That's updated. So it's talking about the website. Transactions submitted via website might not be processed and will not be able to respond to inquiries of appropriations or not. Okay, so they're saying it might, like if you try to do something, apply online, you might not get a response, and you can't set up, like even if you have, let's say you signed up for everything and it was early December 15th or what have you. Well, you got an appointment set up and all that, those appointments are going to be canceled. And I've heard that people are being called and told, or they're emailing people letting them know, hey, that your appointment's been canceled until the appropriations are there. So that's kind of where they are right now. It's unfortunate because, like I said, GlobalEntry TSA Precheck is something that you definitely should consider getting. But in this situation, it's just not available. So all we can do is hope that they get things together and get everything going again. I don't know. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, but we are in that situation when it comes to GlobalEntry and TSA Precheck. Okay, so just be aware of that. But the passports, that's a good thing. So you are still able to get your passports. So you are still able to travel if you want to travel. We don't know how long this is going to last. Hopefully it ends tomorrow. But if it does last for another couple months, that could keep people from getting passports and allowing them to travel. So because now you can still go through and get your passport, I would jump on it sooner than later. If you're thinking about getting a passport at this point, I would jump on it now, because you don't know what could happen. What if the shutdown is another 2 months and there's just no money to run to do it anymore, as far as run the State Department, and they shut it down, or they hold off on it, or what have you. So at this point, I would jump on it. It's available now. Get it now if you're thinking about doing it. Don't wait around, because then you'll be in a situation where you might not be able to get it. And then I would still, even though they're telling you 4 to 6 weeks, I would still allow myself a little bit of a buffer as far as time, because it can always be longer. And there could be an influx of people that are thinking just like I am. I'm going to jump in there and get my passport now, or renew my passport now. And so they might be flooded with all this, with all these people. And to my knowledge, they're not getting paid. So that could be another issue too. Or just like you see on the news, as far as TSA, the agents that work the security checkpoints when you go to the airport, a lot of them are sticking out now because they're thinking, do I spend gas to drive to work, or do I try to do a side job, Uber, what have you, in order to make some money so I can feed my family? Because right now, if you go to work, you're not going to get paid for those hours that you're working. You're spending money for gas, and you won't get that money until until the shutdown is over. So yeah, that's pretty much how it is right now, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So I just wanted to go over those two things, and I do want to talk a little bit more. So if you guys have some questions, answers, comments, please post them in the chat box, and we can talk about it. And I'm also going to do a video now, since I can. We'll see how fast this computer is. I've been working on this, so I'm hoping that it works. But we'll run some video in the background. So when I went to Thailand, and I'll start the video now and then pop this open. And I notice it pauses a little bit, so when it comes back on, then we'll put it up. Now, if you guys see this and it's choppy or what have you, just let me know, and I'll try to fix it if I can. If I can't, then we're just gonna have to run it or cut this short. But I definitely want to test it, see if it works. Okay, so, and let me do this too. Pull the chat box out here. Okay, so this is Thailand. This is Phuket, Thailand. And let's see here. So what we did is is this showing? I don't even think it's showing the chat, right? Yeah, the chat is not showing. Let's see if this chat works. That's weird. This chat works, but the other one doesn't. Or at least it's not showing updated information. Okay, I'm gonna work on this while we're talking, or while you guys are watching this. So I went from Phuket, and let's see. Let me see here. Let me fix this first, and then I'll talk. I can't do two things at once. I'm not wired that way. So let's see if I can open this up. For whatever reason, I don't know why it's not allowing me to do this. Let's see. Oh, no, that's not right. Just give me 1 second here. Yes. Okay. So while I'm doing this, hopefully you guys can still see the other stuff going on in the background. There it goes. All right, looks like I got it going. Okay, so what I normally do when I'm in another country, and I just started doing this on my last 2 trips, basically what I'll do is I'll ask the taxi or Uber, whoever it is, hey, can I put my camera on your hood? It's an action camera. And so that's what I'll do. I'll put the camera on the hood and just show the whole ride. And I think it's interesting because one of the things I'm fascinated about in different countries is there are a variety of different things are just different, right? First off, you're on the opposite side of the road, which is funny in itself because when I first got to Thailand, I didn't realize that. And I came out, and of course you got people that are hounding you about taxis and all this. So I walked around a little bit, and then I picked up a taxi. It wasn't even a taxi, it was like a driving service. So I went to one of the little booths they have, and I asked him how much, and he told me how much, told him where I needed to go. And so then I went over to the car, and it wasn't like an actual taxi, it was just like a regular car. And so what do? I'm trying to get in on the passenger side, which for us, the passenger side, because he was outside the vehicle. He was putting my bags in the trunk. and and I opened the door, and oh, what? It's the driver's side. So then I realized, okay, they drive on the other side of the road. So that's how I figured it out. I didn't know before, and I didn't do any research on it. So yeah, that's that was pretty funny. All right, you guys, let me know if you can see this, if everything is showing up okay. Because if it's not, then I'm gonna have to see if I can fix it. But it looks like it's okay right now. So just let me know. Say thumbs up, good, bad, all that. So we were going from Phuket, and we went from Phuket to Krabi. So we wanted to go. There are a few different islands near Phuket. There's James Bond Island. There's Hong Island, and I think there's one other island. I can't think of it right offhand. But we wanted to go to those different islands just to kind of experience the islands in Thailand. And if you go to Thailand, and if you go to Phuket, especially if you go to Phuket, you're going to want to go to the islands. You're going to spend a lot of time driving or taking a boat ride to different places, because a lot of the things that you're going to probably want to see are not going to be right in Phuket. Unless you want to just do the bars and the nightclubs and all that, then you can stay in Bangla Road and you'll be fine the whole time, if that's kind of what you want. But if you want to do the beaches, if you want the nice beaches, because Phuket has, they have the beach right there, Butong Beach, and it's nice. It's a nice beach, but you're going to want to go to the islands, because you go to the islands, those beaches those are some of the nicest beaches I've ever seen. Like pristine white sand, real clear water. So it's a really good experience. Something that you should definitely consider if you're interested in going to Phuket. We had to drive a lot, so you're going to be getting in cabs and taxis and all that. We used what they call Grab, and Grab is like Uber. And the way Grab works a lot. I think Grab is better than Uber in the sense that it's cash. So you don't have to use your credit card. So if you're traveling with people, this is a perfect deal, because you can just split the cash and go. You don't have to always, one person's using their credit card or using your credit card. You can use cash if you want. Now, you're not going to get points, but it's a good way to go. So basically, it's just an app. You do it just like Uber, but there's no credit card transaction. Everything is just going to be cash. So they'll tell you how much it is. On the app, they'll tell you how much it is, and then the vehicle will come pick you up, and then you're off. So, yeah, I just thought it's interesting just to kind of see the ride. And one thing and you'll see, this is really not even bad, but you see these lines, these electrical lines. And in Thailand, and Phuket, I'll speak for Phuket because I was there, these lines are everywhere. And they don't look bad here, but there's some areas where it looks like extension cords. I mean, there's just so many, and there's just like a nest of all these different wires. And so it looks like they don't have like the big, thick wires that we have in the U.S. that carry, I guess, a lot of different lines on them. They have a lot of little individual lines. And so when you get to some of these busier areas, if you're on Bangla Road, you just see wires all tangled together. And there are a few places we walk by, and you can see the sparks and stuff coming out of the transformers. And yeah, it was interesting to see that. And then we had a couple of power outages too while we were there. So that does happen as well. But the scenery, I mean, nice green everywhere. It rains. It rained pretty frequently when we were there, but it's only for like it rains for like an hour, something like that. And I want to say it rained pretty much the first 3 days I was there. It rained at least once throughout the day. So it does rain, but you see all this tropical greenery everywhere. So that's nice. Another thing too is, and this is for like photographers, their skies are really beautiful. Like you see these clouds and everything. This is what photographers love. Like I love going out and having these clouds, because at sunset, the sun will set, and then as long as the clouds aren't on the horizon line, the sun will set and it'll shine up all these colors, reds and oranges, all into these clouds. It just looks really nice. So they have nice clouds out here. I'm telling you, that's one thing I look for. I love that in Thailand, as well as Colombia has really nice clouds, nice cloud formations, I should say. So motorbikes, very common in Thailand. And if you're looking really closely, you'll see people aren't wearing helmets. One thing, very few people wear helmets. Although I believe it is against the law to not wear helmets, but you see very few people wearing helmets, and you'll see little kids on these bikes with their parents, of course. But we're talking 2-year-old, 3-year-old. I even saw an infant on the back. I guess father was driving, mom was sitting right behind father, and then she had the little baby, holding the baby like this. And she's not holding on to him, she's just holding the baby. So it's an eye-opener. You'll see that a lot. But you have to think about it too. Like if that's your only mode of transportation, what do you do? Like, how do you get the baby to the hospital if you need to get the baby to the hospital? How do you get the baby to different places? I'm sure in situations like that, it's a deal where you have to, like, the baby has to go somewhere, so that's why you're taking the baby. But it's not uncommon, and you'll see a man or a woman driving. Let's say they have their hands on the handlebar, and then you'll have the kid, and the kid's head's right here, and the kid's standing up on it's like a scooter, so the kid's standing up on the scooter, their feet are down there, and then they're just sitting, their head barely reaches over the handlebars. So if you look, you'll see it, because they were everywhere. So it's just nice. I mean, there are a lot of different little towns like this. You see these little towns where it's just built up, and then you go and then there's nothing for a long distance, and then there's towns, and then there's nothing. But when I say town, I'm saying towns, but I just mean a little area where there's development, and then it goes to where it's just all green and there's nothing. So let's see what's in the chat here. What's up, Altered Illusions? I have seen some nice sunsets in Bangkok. Yeah, I didn't go to Bangkok, and I wanted to do at least one day there. My buddy actually went there, and he told me he didn't really like it, but I do want to at least go there just to say that I've been there. But yeah, it's a nice area for sunsets, definitely. And I'll speak for Phuket because I've been here. It's definitely a good place to take pictures. And we had a guy take us out to this area where I wanted to take pictures. I don't have do I have it? No, I don't have the picture on my, this is my new computer, so I don't have all my pictures on here yet. But I will show you that picture in a later video. But we went out, and it was a beautiful sunset, and there's this pier that was it's like an old pier that's broken down, and it's kind of an iconic spot for photographers when you go to Phuket. And so when I looked at it, it's actually not even in Phuket, it's actually out this way. But we didn't take a picture. We actually came back. So we went out to Krabi, did the island hopping, and then it took us, we were there for 2 days. And then when we came back, then I think it was the last day, we decided to go back to this pier. So we had to drive back out the same way. So, yeah. And see anything else interesting? Nothing really right here. I haven't really seen any tuk-tuks, but those are popular too. And a tuk-tuk is it's like a cab, like a taxi, but it's a little vehicle. And when I see one, I'll point one out to you. But the thing that's funny about these little tuk-tuks is you're sitting outside, so you're like in the back of a pickup, kind of like this, but it's a small vehicle. And they cost just as much, or they quote you just as much as far as the price as if you were to ride in a regular cab. And so I think we got on one. We took a tuk-tuk once. We were just going up the street. And usually people only go a short distance in them. But if they cost the same, I'm jumping in a cab, because a cab will have AC, and the tuk-tuk, you're sitting in the back, so you're not going to have any AC. So for me, it wasn't worth it. I didn't see any situation where it was worth it. And so just to let you know too, like how I do this. So like I said, there's a magnet that I use. I don't think I went over that, but it's an action camera. There's a little magnet, kind of a tripod thing. They have the different suction cups and all those different things. I don't use any of that stuff. This is a heavy duty magnet. You just slap the magnet on the top. The magnet has it's rubber. So the magnets are inside of the rubber. So it has a coating over it. You just put it on the hood, and it's not going anywhere. You're not gonna lose that. You're not gonna lose your camera. And then what I'll do is, for long rides like this, I'll have a power bank, and I'll hook the power bank with a long cord, a long micro USB cord, and I'll just hook that into it, and I can just run that through the window, like the window seal, and I can do this forever. I mean, if it's a 3-hour ride, I can do it for 3 hours. In this situation, I think it was 2 hours and 44 minutes that I had the camera running the whole time. So it's easy. It's easy to do. It's not hard. I use a Sony action camera, so that's what I use to get the footage. And the Sony action camera I use is the X3000, FDR X3000. And that's a great camera. If you don't know much about cameras and you're thinking about, I want to get an action camera, right now GoPro 7's out, the Hero 7, the black version, the Pro version. That's a good one as far as image stabilization. So I would recommend that one, or getting the one I have, the FDR X3000, which is great stabilization. Stabilization is just as good as the Hero, but the Sony camera is a little older, so you could probably get it for less than the Hero. Actually, you can get it for less than the Hero. So just consider that. The only thing about the Hero has 4K at 60 frames per second. This one has 4K at 30 frames per second. If you don't know much about cameras, that's not going to mean anything to you, but if you get to a point where you want to do slow-mo, and you want to edit a video and do it slow-mo, it looks much better if it's at 60 frames per second and you slow it down to 30 frames per second than if you're at 30 frames per second and then you slow it down even more, because then you'll start losing frames and it'll get choppy. So that's how that works. Here's a little town here, and I talked about this in another stream, but as far as food, I had a difficult time with food out in Thailand, in Phuket, and maybe I just went to the wrong places. We didn't have anyone telling us, hey, you should eat here, you should eat there. We just kind of went to the different places around the area, and I wasn't really liking what I was eating. Like, I don't know, everything tastes different to me. It wasn't, I don't know, I couldn't put my finger on it. There were some things that I ate that I liked or that were okay, but a vast majority of the stuff that I ate, I don't know what all this noise is here. The vast majority of the stuff that I ate, I didn't really like. And what I normally do is I'll eat stuff that I'm familiar. Like, if I get to a point where it's like nothing's tasting right, then I'll just try to eat what's familiar to me, a burger or pizza. These little things are very common too. It's little sidecar things, and a lot of them they'll have like, let's say they're selling street food, so they'll have it all set up there, and that's probably what that one was. And all they need to do is drive to wherever they're going to stop. And you have a lot of street vendors out here, a lot, everywhere. So they'll go to wherever they're going to stop. They'll pull out all their stuff, and they have it all on that cart, so they don't really have to go anywhere. Just pull out everything, and they cook right off that cart, and so you can eat. So yeah, so as far as the food, I wasn't really loving it. Maybe I needed to try more things, but I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it. Now I like Thai food, in the U.S. But yeah, it wasn't the same. For me, it wasn't the same. I did get like pad thai, which I did like, but I got that at the, believe it or not, I got it at the hotel. I stayed at the Hyatt place. They had really good pad thai there. I tried pad thai at another place, at a restaurant. I didn't like it too much. The best food that we had the whole trip was at an elephant sanctuary. So we went to like an elephant sanctuary to see the elephants and all that. And they served food there. That was the best food that I had the whole trip. So that's that. Let's see, Altered Illusions. I love Bangkok. Also, I love Singapore. It's like a giant city park. Yeah, Singapore is another place I want to go. Damn, Altered Illusions, you've been going a lot of places where I want to go. Where else have you been? Yeah, I want to go to Singapore as well. I ran into a guy at one of the hotels in Thailand, and he was from Singapore, and he was telling me, yeah, you should go to Singapore. So that's definitely a place I want to go to as well. So you see Thailand, they have nice cars out there, everything, but there are a lot of people that will use the motorcycles and the scooters. But you do have some real high-end cars there as well. So you don't really see, like, there are McDonald's and stuff like that, but you don't really see very many of them. What you do see a lot of is 7-Elevens, especially when you're in the like Bangalore Road and all that. You'll see 7-Elevens like at every corner. It's amazing how many 7-Elevens they have all packed in. So that's a very common place for people to get stuff, and it's very reasonable too. Like, you go in there, you can get food for, man, water. What did I say? I did a video where I kind of walked through and looked at some of the, actually I haven't done that video. I need to edit that video, but I took some video of walking through the different like going to the different stores and stuff and looking at water, and water's like 30 cents or 40 cents for a bottle of water, US money. So yeah, it's very reasonable as far as water. Now you see this lane here, this is kind of like for slow cars or motorcycles. So that's kind of how they do that. So if you don't want to, if you're on a motorcycle and you don't want to be riding on the regular street, regular road, you can kind of ride on the side. It's almost like a bike lane, really. But it's just for slower vehicles or people on motorcycles. At least that's the way I thought it was. I mean, I saw a lot of motorcycles on this. You see this guy on the sidewalk? That wouldn't fly in the U.S. Not at all. But yeah, their motorcycles are very, very popular, very common. All right, Altered Illusions, 17 countries, most in Europe. Cool. The only place I've been in Europe is Paris. That's the only place. And I want to go to some other places. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm going to start going to some different places out there in Europe. Yeah, but you need to go to South America, Altered Illusions. That's where you should go. There's some nice places out there. Surprisingly nice places. Like, people don't realize, they think of South America and they think of they get scared, they don't want to go, but it's definitely a hidden gem, hidden secret. So there's a 7-Eleven right there, and this is a larger area. But if you go to some of the real dense populated areas, you're going to see 7-Eleven every corner. It's amazing how many 7-Elevens they pack in. And there's another store too. I can't think offhand what it's called, but there is another store that's out there. Maybe I'll see it here. It's a small little, like 7-Eleven style store. That's very common as well. And I like one thing that I really like about Thailand is things are so reasonable that you can come out here with American money and your money goes so far. And you can live a good life. Like if you were in a situation where, let's say, and I'm going to be it this way, once I retire, I'm going to want to go spend 3-4 months in another country and then come back, and you can do really well because your money goes so far. Food is very, very inexpensive. We're talking a meal, maybe $4, $5 at most, and that's like when I say a meal, I mean a sit-down restaurant, nice meal. Dinner, same thing. I mean, breakfast, lunch, dinners, usually anywhere from, I'd say, from $2 to like $7. That's kind of the range. So it's very reasonable. I mean, you can go long. You can do a lot with your money here. Now, electronics in some of these countries are a little more expensive. So if that's something that you're really interested in, yeah, you're going to spend a little bit more money. But as far as food and the cost of living, the hotels and apartments and Airbnbs and all that, you can do that for not a lot. We stayed at the Hyatt place right on Bangalore, or right near Bangalore Road, right a block over from Bangalore Road, right next to Patong Beach, and it was $50 a night, and it was nice. It was a nice hotel. In the U.S., you easily pay $120 to $150 a night for that room, and so we were paying $50 a night. I got my room. My buddy got his room. We had separate rooms, but we had the suite, so we had the door in between, and it worked out perfectly for us. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, so you guys see, I mean, it's a pretty nice place. And as far as like, one thing I look for when I go to different countries, especially if I want to spend time there, I want to find a place that is that has everything, amenity-wise. So, do they have big stores? Do they have everything that I would need in order to, if I were going to stay there for any period of time, in order for me to be comfortable? And Thailand has that. They have pretty much everything. They have a nice mall right in Phuket, right off Bangalore Road. That mall has everything. That mall is big. Like, it has all the different things. They even have, if you go, they have the top floor dedicated to. It's kind of funny because it's like kind of like a swap meet feel. You go up to the very top. They have camera stores because we needed I can't remember what we needed to get, but we needed to get something for our camera, or my buddy needed to get something for his camera, so we were looking for one. Or was it me? No, it was me. I needed to get something. I dropped my, I have a Sony A7R III, and love the camera, love that camera to death, but the little eyepiece on there, they should have made it better because it can come off very easily. And so I had my camera just around my stomach, around my stomach area, and I'm walking around taking pictures, and then had it back down, and the little eyepiece just came out. And this was at night. We were out. We were in Phi Phi Island. That's another island there. So we were at Phi Phi Island. We stayed the night there. And so we went out for some nightlife, took some pictures, and you go out, and it's cool because they have these clubs that are right on, or really they're bars, these bars that are right on the beach. Like, literally, you're standing on the sand when you're at the bar, and the waves are coming in, and it's crazy because people are out there partying, drinking, dancing, and they have, like, I don't know, jump rope is a big thing out there on Phi Phi Island at least. And so they have these jump ropes that have like lights on, like LED lights on them, and they're swinging these jump ropes, and people are jumping on these jump ropes or doing, jump roping. And so I'm out there. I'm like, this is cool. I'm taking pictures, and then I look up, and later on that night, I'm walking around, and I look, and my little eyepiece is gone, which was okay. I could still take pictures, but it just was a little harder because when you have the eyepiece on, it covers everything, so you can see a lot clearer. But if you don't have the eyepiece, now you have light that's leaking in from the different angles and stuff. So here I am walking all around looking for that thing, and so we go up to the very top of the mall, and we found a camera store, and I didn't find what I was looking for. They didn't even have the camera that I have. So I wasn't able to find it, but it's modern. Like the malls are modern. They have everything in those malls. So that was nice. So, you guys have any questions or anything like that? Please feel free to post it in the chat. Let's see, Altered Illusions. Yep, planning on Lima. Learning Spanish now. How are you learning Spanish? Did we talk about this? I think we talked about this last time. How are you learning Spanish? Because I need to learn more. I know a little bit, but I definitely need to learn more. If you're staying, and this is a kind of a tip too, if you go to different countries, like let's say any country really, if you stick with, let's say you don't know the language, Google Translate I talked about before, and you can download Google Translate onto your phone. So, or you can download the app, and you can download the specific language. So let's say I want to learn, I want to be able to communicate in Spanish. I can download Spanish onto my Google Translate, and I don't need data or anything like that. I don't need a Wi-Fi connection. You'll be able to use it because the whole language is downloaded onto your phone. So that makes it convenient, and you can talk into it just like you can talk into the phone, and then you can also, I think it actually says, yeah, you can talk into it, and then it will actually speak too. So it will tell if you're uncomfortable saying whatever it says, or you can't pronounce it, then you can have it read back to you. So I recommend that. But also, if you stay at American hotels like Hyatt or Marriott, or usually you're going to have people there that speak the language or speak English. So that kind of gives you a little opportunity as well. So if you are in a situation where you're a little uncomfortable, you don't know the language, so it might keep you from wanting to go to wherever you want to go. If you stay at one of those hotels, you'll probably be fine, and then you can do excursions if you want through that hotel, because most hotels will have some information, some type of concierge service, or some information on how to go on the different excursions. So just keep that in mind as well. Let's see here. All right, let's see. Live like a king in Thailand. Yeah, so Altered Illusion is saying you can live like a king in Thailand. And you can. I mean, that's true. I talked about the experience staying at this hotel. We ended up leaving the hotel, but we didn't leave it because of the amenities that the hotel had. We left it because of the location. It was just too far to keep going back and forth from the beach back to the hotel. It just cost too much money. But that hotel, that place was nice. Like, it was a bungalow kind of style, but my buddy basically looked at the pictures of the hotel, didn't look at the location, and just booked it. But it was pretty impressive because it had 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. It was like a condo, and it had its own. You had your own pool, and then you had a little. It was a perfect place if you wanted to party, stuff like that. This is what I'm talking about. This little thing here. So he's got food in here, and then he just stops wherever he wants to stop. Open that up, and that might actually be ice cream. Open that up, and then he's serving whatever that is, so he can stop wherever he wants to go. I saw we got ice cream. Actually, when we got to Krabi, we got ice cream, and that was what it was. A guy just pulled over to the side, and he had that little thing, and he made his own ice cream, and it was like a block. So think of like butter, like a block of butter, but like a big block, and he just cuts the blocks, like cuts it in half, and then sticks a stick in each one, and then there's your ice cream. So we got some of that. It was cheap. It was like, I want to say like 50 cents. I don't even think it was that. It might have even been 30 cents. So that was pretty good. It wasn't bad. So yeah, so we were driving. You see a lot of this type structures and stuff like that. It's just a walkway, but you'll see a lot of that, and like I think the Queen, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the Queen, and the King. You'll see them all over all over the country, like, or all over the cities and everything. You'll just see like these monuments to them. So I didn't know a lot about it, so I don't want to speak too much because I don't really know a lot about it, but that's just something that I saw, like, very common. And then the only reason I knew it was like the king and the queen and stuff, because the taxi guys would say, yeah, it's the king and the queen. And so it's pretty neat. So you see, we're picking up some speed. I mean, we're not going slow, that's for sure. And these are all taxis. Taxi here, taxi there. There's taxis everywhere. So when you're riding, there's just taxis all over. And then they'll have like there'll be a checkpoint coming up. I think it's coming up relatively soon, where they'll just make sure, you know, I don't know what the checkpoint was really. I mean, there were police there, and they just kind of did the checkpoint. But I think we were able to just drive right through. But obviously they're looking for something. Let's see. Duolingo app and website. Okay, I'll have to check that one out. Chrome plugin for Netflix. Runs two different languages subtitles at the same time. That's interesting too. It says park on a word, and it says it loud. Okay. I'll have to check that stuff out. But yeah, I'm definitely need to learn more Spanish. Although when you go to other countries too, a lot of it's body language. Like you can do a lot with body language, where if you need to get something through to people, we kind of all know the universal symbols, drink and eat and money, and so a lot of that stuff you can still get people to understand what you're saying if you're really in a pinch. But I'm telling you, Google Translate, that works wonders. I mean, that is probably your best option if you don't speak the language. I can't see any other. That's your best option if you don't speak another language. It really works. So this area here, I wanted to stop here. On the way back, I was thinking, oh, we'll stop here. But we got in a situation where on the way back, so we went out here for 2 days. But when we went out here, we were thinking, you know, we'll make it a day trip. But we packed anyway, so I packed an extra set of clothes just in case we were going to stay. But we were thinking we could just drive out here, take a boat, you know, get on an excursion, and take a boat to the island, and then come back. But when we got there, then we realized that there are a variety of different islands. And one of the islands that we wanted to go to, which was Fifi Island, was going to take the whole day. And we actually stayed there that whole night. So, actually, I don't know, I'll take that back. I said that wrong. We went to 2 islands when we were out here in Krabi, and we went to Fifi Island when we were still in Phuket. So when we went out here, there was 2 islands. We went to one island one day, and then we wanted to go to the other island. We went to Hong Island first, and then we wanted to go to James Bond Island. So we went to Hong Island. That took the whole day. Got back, stayed in a hotel, kind of motel-style hotel, and then the next day we went to James Bond Island, because it takes all day. So we wouldn't be able to do both. We wanted to do the James Bond Island, so it didn't make sense to drive all the way back, pay $40 to drive all the way back, and then have to pay $40 to drive all the way back up another day in order to do the James Bond Island. And generally, you have to make this trek in order to do James Bond Island, because they don't come from Phuket area, so you have to do the drive. All right. So like I said, if you guys are new in the chat, just let me know you're here. Say hi. If you have any questions about Thailand, please post in the comments. I'll try to help you out with that. This is a road on the way from Phuket, Thailand to Krabi, which is another area. I think it's another state. Like it's outside of Phuket. So Yeah, it was Krabi's a little smaller town, but they still had like the night markets. Night markets are really common out in Thailand, where you'll have like all the food. I'm sure you guys have seen it on TV, where they have all the food and stuff like that just out like a kind of a swap meet style market where they're selling food and stuff like that. I We only ate a few things at the food markets. Very, very little. I don't know. I kind of was telling myself, "Oh, I'll get it later. I'll get it later." We were there for 10 days, and I never. I mean, I got a couple of things, but I didn't eat much off the carts. I was kind of afraid, and on my next trip, I'm going to be a little more brave. But I was a little afraid. Like I didn't want to get sick on that. I was just thinking that flight home would be miserable if I'm sick, and so I was trying to limit the amount of street food that I was eating just because of that. I didn't want to get to a situation where I got really sick and couldn't had a real bad trip back. So that's kind of what I was thinking there. All right. So we got a little construction going on here. Construction's everywhere. We got construction. I don't know about you, but especially Southern California, there's always construction going on. Always construction somewhere. But like I said earlier, I wanted to stop in one of these remote areas and just kind of go out and take pictures of just like kind of like the greenery, the farmland, that kind of stuff. And it's all around this area. And so on the way up, I'm looking at these different spots and taking some mental notes, so when I come back, I could stop at a spot and take some pictures. But on the way back, since we were there for 2 days, we went on that last excursion, the James Bond Island one, and we weren't going back. We didn't need to go back to the hotel, and to go back to the hotel was about 45 minutes because we had to drive out a little bit. So to go back was like 45 minutes in the other direction, away from Phuket. But we had all our stuff. We were ready to go. We could have just we could have just caught an Uber or something or a crab, or what's it called? A crab. What is it called? Grab. There you go. Caught a Grab and taken the Grab back, and we could have saved that 45 minutes. And so the last part of the excursion was going to this waterfall or something. So we just skipped that and we caught a bus, basically. They took us to the bus station. We caught a bus and took a bus back. So we couldn't get off. We couldn't stop and get out. We could have stopped and got out, but then we would have needed to catch another bus. So this all right here, where these trees are, the tree lines, I wanted to get in there and take some pictures. But on the way back, we just said, nah, we'll come back and take it some other day. But it didn't happen. So, and that's kind of a tip too, and I know, and I do this all the time, and I need to stop. If you're out and you want to take pictures, you see something you want to take a picture of, take a picture of it. Don't say, oh, I'll come back, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to come back. And so get a picture. If you see it, take a picture. There's no reason not to, unless you are on a bus, like I said, or you're in a situation where you can't stop. If you have the opportunity to stop, do it. We're with this guy. We could have stopped. We already paid him, and he was doing the Grab. He was a Grab driver, but he was doing this for us off the clock. So he could have stopped for us and taken a picture. It'd take me 5 minutes to take the picture if I wanted to. So yeah, do it. If you see it, if you have that opportunity, go ahead and take it. Don't say, oh, I'm going to come back. Because what happens with me a lot is I'll say, oh, I'll come back to that. And then the next day I see something, oh, I'll come back to that. And the next day, so then it comes to the last day and I got 10 spots that I want to come back to. And obviously I'm not going to go back to all those different spots. So yeah, do it when you can. So yeah, I love this greenery. I go to Kauai every other year. Kauai in Hawaii, and it looks just like this. Same feel. This is a little busier though. Kauai is very, very slow pace. You don't have these big roads or anything like this, but the scenery looks the same. The greens looks the same. And in Thailand, they have these really nice mountains. They're different. They don't look like they're. I don't know how to describe them, but the mountains out there are really nice mountains. Okay, let's see. What's up, Theo, Patrick? I'll be in Manila the end of March. I am 35 years old, disabled vet, heart condition, retired since age 27. So I get to fly out of the country every 2 weeks. Wow, that's good, Theo. That's good. I mean, it's good that you get to fly out of the country every 2 weeks. Thank you for your service. And what else did we say here? This evening, headed to the DR for 4 nights, Spain for 8 days, the end of the month. Cool. So you are a traveler, Theo. That's cool. So the DR, I haven't gone to the DR yet. And I haven't gone to Spain yet either. I'd like to go to both those places. Now, where are you going to go in the DR? Because I'm interested in going to the DR, but I hear good things and I hear bad things. But I'm definitely interested to go. My buddy just went last year, and he said it was all right. Now he went to the DR. He went to Colombia with me, and he said Colombia was 10 times better than the DR. So if you like the DR, if you're interested in the DR, maybe you should go to Colombia too. You have a good time. Go to Medellin or go to Cartagena. Let's see. Videos on my page, mostly hotel reviews. All right, Theo, I'll check your page out, definitely. So you guys check out Theo's page. He's got a YouTube channel, and if you can post it, you can post a link in the description or in the chat, so we can all go over there. Oh, so Ultra Illusion's talking about going to DR to visit a cigar factory. Yeah, I'm not. I've never smoked a cigar before, so that's not really my interest. I like the way they smell, but I've just never smoked one before. Okay, Santo Domingo, then drive to Sosua. Okay, so you're going to some pretty common spots. I'm sure you probably watched Tailor Made Dreams. He's got a YouTube channel. He does a really good job talking about Sosua. He talks a little bit about Santo Domingo too, but if you haven't checked his channel out, you definitely want to check his channel out because he's got a bunch of videos. He went and bought an apartment out there, or bought a condo out there, and I think he's living there full time now. He still he goes back and forth to the States, but oh, you have him on WhatsApp. All right, so you're far ahead of me. I'm just watching him on videos. You talking with him. All right, yeah. So he's good about he'll tell you everything. Yeah, he seems cool on the channel. So yeah, so that's another thing too. Like a lot of these different places, and I'm finding this out now through YouTube. You get on YouTube and you type in Colombia, or you type in DR, all this stuff. So if you're thinking about going to one of these different locations, type in that information. Just go to YouTube, type in Medellin, and you're going to get all these different channels that have videos about Medellin. You'll probably pull up a few of mine because I've done some on Medellin. And it's good to kind of see how people view the country, how people view the different areas that they go to. You can see a lot of information about like excursions and things like that. Thailand, I did a lot of different excursions, and I'm probably going to, well, not probably, I will do, I have so many videos, but I'm going to put some together and just kind of talk about the different, like the islands. I have some video of the islands, so I'll do a video talking about the islands. So if you get on YouTube and just type in where you're going, you'll get a lot of information. You'll have a lot of people that have gone to those different locations, or might live in that location. Like Tailor Made Dreams lives in the DR, and so he can give you a lot of information. And like Theo's saying, he was able to to get his WhatsApp, and he seems like pretty open as far as talking about different experiences and things like that, what to do and what not to do when you're in these different countries. So it's definitely, YouTube has really opened a lot of doors when it comes to travel, because now you can kind of decide where you want to go depending on what you see on YouTube. You can see different things and say, oh yeah, I want to go there. And I know a lot of what I do, like the photography that I do when I go to these different locations and take pictures, a lot of the information that I'm getting is from YouTube or from Google. Just going on Google Images and type in Medellin, go to Google Images, and it'll pull up all these images, and I can get some ideas of what's out there and what people have taken pictures of. Just as well as if I get on YouTube, you have a lot of travel photographers that will go to these different locations and take pictures, and they'll tell you about different things. The only thing I don't like about, and the reason why I really focus my channel on travel aspects, not just the photography, is a lot of the travel photography websites or travel photography channels will talk about taking pictures, which is great, but they don't talk about how to get to these different destinations, how to do it on a budget. So you just see them in a plane, and then they get to the location and they're at this exotic spot taking pictures of a waterfall, but they don't tell you how much it costs them to get there and all that. And that's just as important as taking pictures, the way I see it, because if you can't get to those destinations, you're not going to be able to get those pictures. And if you don't have any information about how to travel and how to do it on a budget, you get out there and you start traveling, you realize that it's expensive to go to all these different locations. So if you can make it affordable, use travel points and all that stuff, then it really makes it worthwhile. And then you can get to a point where you're flying business class, first class, and that's just a whole different experience. This is the checkpoint here. So we go through, and I don't even think there was anybody there when we went through, if I remember correctly. And so you have all these different little archways. I don't know exactly what that is. I know it's like kind of like a shrine. I think it's a shrine. So yeah, you just go through here, and this is I think it's like the state police or something like that. Center here. Yeah, there's nobody here. It's just this statue standing here. And then off to the left here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but off to the left you'll see like where they train. It's like the barracks and all that stuff there. I don't know if you can see, not too much, but right over here in this area on the left, this is where they train, and then they have the barracks and stuff off there. I just remember that because I was all intrigued by that. Yeah, so yeah, it's off to the left there. So now I think we've just left the area, like we've gone into another, I believe we've gone into another state. That's what the information that he was trying to tell me. He was telling me that we've left and we're into another state. Look at this bike lane here. It's a nice dedicated bike lane. Nice smooth road. They really cater to bikes out there. If you are into cycling, which I've just recently got into cycling. So you see this is a real nice bike lane here. Straightaway, flat road. You have that little barrier in between, which is nice. So that's always, I'm always looking for that. Well, I am now because there are situations now where when I travel, I do want to rent a bike. If you see on the left here, this is a beach, so you have the water right here. It's pretty nice. When we went to take that picture that I was telling you about, our last part of the trip, this is how far we went. So we went all the way up here. Now where we were going to Krabi, it's a little further. It's probably another 45 minutes or so. But we went to this area here, and there was a pier that we wanted to take a picture of. All right, let's see. By the way, you put out great content. I appreciate the visual details. All right, thank you, Theo. I appreciate that. I remember you saying you was thinking about getting the Amex Platinum. The Centurion Lounge experience is very nice, but you also get access to Centurion Suite and Staples Center. Yeah, I'm still considering. So Theo's just talking about the Amex Platinum. If you guys have questions about travel rewards, credit cards, and all that stuff, yeah, please post that stuff. We can talk about that as well. I'm just running this kind of video in the background, so we'll talk about it from time to time. But uh, the but I still want to talk about just travel as far as how like traveling on a budget. So Amex Platinum, yes, I'm talking about getting that card, and I probably will be getting it shortly. I'm still, I don't know why I'm waiting, but I'm waiting for the Centurion Lounge in LAX, in LA. They're building that one out, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll wait a little bit longer, and then then I'm just gonna go ahead and get the card. I'm in no rush at this point. I have enough points for my year of travel, and I kind of gauge it, and I talked about this before, but I gauge it around 200. If I have about 200,000 points, I'm good for the year, and I'll still earn points. So let's say I have 200,000 points right now, and I have a little more than that, but I have that right now, and then I'll earn points over time throughout the year because I use my credit cards for all my purchases, so I'll still earn more points, but that's enough for 4 trips out of the country. That's kind of the way that I look at it. And that's not using all points, but that's using points and cash, and that's kind of how I do it. So depending on how much that airfare is, if it's affordable, 500 or less, then I'll probably just pay for it out of pocket. So let's say if I want to go to Colombia and it's $500, then I'll just pay for it out of pocket. I won't use points for that. But if I want to go to Thailand and that ticket's like $1,300 for an economy seat, well, then I'm going to use points, and I'm going to try to see if I can maximize by using points and flying business class or first class because it's a long haul flight. So that's kind of what I look for. All right, let's see, Theo. Okay, so yeah, so in what Theo was talking about as far as Amex Platinum, the Centurion Lounges, so that experience he's talking about is really good, as well as they have the Centurion Suites at the Staples Center. So if you live in California, you're able to, well, even not if you live in California, Southern California, but Staples Center is where the Lakers play and the Clippers play. So if you want to go there, you can rent or you can get a cheap seat, and then you can stay in the Centurion Lounge that they have there, which is a nicer view. And you can just stay there the whole time. You don't have to go back to your seat. You don't really have to go to your seat. So all you have to do is have a platinum card. You show them the platinum card and they let you in. And the food you do have to pay for. I don't know if it's a reduced price, but you do have to pay for the food. But you're in a nicer area. So, and then they have the lounges. So the Centurion Lounges, for the most part, I haven't been in one yet, but from what I'm hearing, they're nicer than the Priority Pass lounges. So if you have a Priority Pass, let's say you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Amex Platinum, the City Prestige, those cards will allow you to have Priority Pass access. And basically, Priority Pass is a third party, and they connect with these different lounges at the airports. Not all the lounges. Usually they're the kind of the, I don't want to say the lower end lounges, but they're the kind of standard lounges that they'll do business with. And what happens is if you have Priority Pass, you can go to these lounges and get Wi-Fi, get snacks, water, alcohol. Some of the lounges are pretty decent. Some of them are really bare bones. Some of them will have some food. Some of them won't have any food at all. I've even gone to some lounges where it's pretty much a couple of like the big bowls, and they'll have like muffins in one bowl and some chips in another bowl, some coffee, some water, and then some alcohol, but maybe like 3 or 4 bottles of some different types of alcohol. So some of them are really, really bare bones. But in most situations, it's nicer than being in the terminal. And the best part about it is you don't have to pay for anything. It's all a part of having the Priority Pass. So that's nice. All right, let's see. Okay, so Theo's talking about seated in nosebleed seats. Okay, 15 minutes earlier, and they will allow you to go into the suite. Okay, cool. Up to 3 guests. Okay, that's really cool. I mean, that makes having the car even that much better. And that's the problem that I'm having right now with Chase. Like, and I put out a few videos that talk about this specific, the same topic. Like, and I get it that Amex is, they charge more merchant fees and things like that, and so I don't know, maybe they have more money. I don't know all the specifics, but they offer different things. Like the lounge at Staples Center, I think, is really nice. The Centurion Lounge, I think it's worth looking at getting the card, because honestly, some of the other, like the earn possibility with the Amex Platinum is not great. Like, I mean, for airfare, yes, it's good, 5 times points. But for some of those other categories, you don't, I mean, you're getting 1 point per dollar. So you're not really making out on the other categories. So having all these little different perks that are specific only to the Amex Platinum, I think is great. And I wish that the Chase Sapphire Reserve would do something like that, where they have things that are specific. And I know they have like these different concerts and all this stuff that they'll let you have access to, but a lot of those things you have to pay for. And if they had a lounge at the airports, they start doing something like the Centurion Lounge, where they have a lounge that's specific only to Chase Sapphire Reserve members, I think that would be a good deal. And even if you want to make it more exclusive, so you limit the amount of times you can go, if you wanted to do that. But I just think it would make a lot more sense, and maybe even get to the point. There's a video that I want to do as far as these travel reward credit cards, because the talk right now is that they're going to stop having these big bonuses. That's kind of the talk, and that's kind of yeah. I mean, it's probably going to happen, because so many people are onto them now, as far as like they know how to get these cards and use them. Whereas before, they're banking on you getting the card and not using all the perks. And if you don't use all the perks, then they kind of win out, because you're going to be paying these annual fees, but you're not going to be using all the perks that they provide. So people are smart; they're getting smart with it. And I think I know YouTube has a lot to do with it, because there's so many channels out there. And let's face it, like back in the day when there were blogs talking about travel reward credit cards and stuff like that, not everybody gets on these blogs and follows them and does all that. But it's much easier to click on a video. You don't have to read anything. You can just sit back, either listen to it or watch it and listen to it at the same time, and have these people talk about their experiences with these travel reward credit cards and stuff. I even got a friend of mine she just got a card. She got the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I was able to get her to understand, hey, and she saw the last 2 years, she saw me traveling everywhere, and I'm honest, I'm not trying to sell anything to her, but I'm just telling her, hey, this is how I did it. I use points. Anybody can do this. I'm not spending a lot of money on these trips, and I'm telling her exactly how much I'm spending to go on these trips. $300 to go to Paris, $400 when I went to Colombia, and then so I'm telling all these different prices, how much I'm paying to get to these places and stay. Now, when I say $300, when it came to Paris, that $300 was to stay there for 5 days. So to fly and to stay there for 5 days. I did a whole video about it. So you check my channel, you can see exactly how I did it. I was able to get there. There was an error as far as the hotel was concerned, but they honored it. So there are different ways that you can work it, and I think the banks now are seeing that people are really taking advantage of these cards, and the banks are losing money right now, I think. So maybe that's why Chase isn't really jumping ahead and making any changes, but it would be nice to have a couple of these lounges specifically for Chase Sapphire Reserve customers. I mean, I think that would really help. And I would be willing to pay an extra $100 for an annual fee. So let's say you make it comparable to the Chase or to the Amex Platinum, and instead of having a $450 annual fee, make it $550 annual fee. I'm open to paying that. I'm paying $450, so I wouldn't mind paying $550 if you're giving me that that benefit on top. See this little area right here where you just walk up, get your fruits and vegetables and all that. And one thing I did see in Thailand, fruits and vegetables, really good. I mean, they taste good, and they were really, they look good and very reasonably priced. So yeah, the markets, I mean, the stuff out here, everything, there's a lot of stuff that they just sell on the street, and it's really good quality food. Or not quality food, I'm sorry, quality vegetables and everything. So yeah, so we're still working our way to Krabi, and you see it's a little more remote out here as far as the area. So it's a different kind of feel here, and I don't know exactly what state we're in right now or what area we're in. Maybe I should have done some research before I put this on, but you guys get the point. Like we're riding away. I guess I could pull up a map. I still probably wouldn't know. Now this red area right here, this is where the road is slippery, so if it's raining, you want to slow down in these areas. I think that's what the guy was trying to explain to us. Either it's slippery right there, or it's rock slide. But I think he was trying to say that it was slippery in those areas, the road, so just be careful. All right. Now, one thing I do notice too in Thailand, Thailand's a little different as far as, this is the first country that I've gone to where the driving, they're not as aggressive when they're driving. And I'll speak for Phuket because that's where I was. People take their time when they drive, for the most part. That's what I saw. In other countries, and I'll speak on Colombia, Medellin, Cartagena, everywhere I went in Colombia. Paris was the same way. Costa Rica was the worst. Costa Rica, they drive crazy out there. Yeah, people, they're very aggressive when they're driving. But in Thailand, it seemed like they weren't all aggressive. You know, they were very cautious. In a lot of situations, you might see some here and there. But if I had a video and I only have, oh, you know what? I do have some video of Colombia. I'll have to pull that up. I'll find it, and then I'll put it in another stream. But you'll see, people are crazy. We almost got in an accident when we were in Colombia because we're riding on the road like here. So we're going up the road, and there was a car that was next, or this is a 2-lane highway. So you can go up this way and then you come back this way. So we're going up this way, and a car was coming down this way, and there was a car that came up beside us. So they're side by side with us, and there's a car right where this truck is. And so instead of him slowing down and just stopping, he sped up and zoomed right in front of us. We had to slow down in order to let him get over. But yeah, it was crazy, and it was fast. It happened really fast. So they don't mess around in Colombia. They drive pretty aggressively. So yeah, I was looking for these tree lines. That's what I wanted a picture of. But I never got there. I never found it. I mean, we found it, but I never stopped. So another little scooter right there. You see those all over. I haven't really seen any kids. I don't know. I haven't been watching it really closely, but you'll see spots, like I said, where you have little kids that are sitting in there with on the little scooters. Yeah. So yeah. So you guys have any other questions or anything? Theo, thank you for all that input. I appreciate that. And have a good time on your trips. And DR, man, you gotta let me know. We're gonna have to do it. Maybe we can do a Google Hangout. You can come in and we can talk about. You can come on my channel and we can talk about DR and other places that you go. We can just kind of do a stream. Uh, question. Show high. Okay, so he's asking me, what country do you see yourself retiring in? I mean, ultimately, I still want to retire in the U.S., but I want to travel. Like, I want to be in a situation where I can go to another country for 6 months at a time and then come back home. Maybe come back home for the summers, spend the summer here, and then go back out somewhere and 3 months here, 6 months there, back for 3 months in the summer, and then go. Just kind of do that. That's what I want to do. But the countries that I like, and I haven't been. The country that I like right now is Colombia. That's where I would spend most of my time. And in either Medellin, probably Medellin, but I also like Cartagena. But what I'm going to do in the next few years is I want to travel to Colombia several times, or a lot of times. I won't even say several, but at least once a year. And I want to go to the different spots. So you have Choco, you have Santa Marta, you have these different areas that I want to go to. Cali, Colombia. I've been to Bogota already. I don't really like Bogota. I wouldn't live there. This is something too. People just burn their trash, so you'll see just smoke in different areas. So these are remote areas. Trash. They don't have like a dump trucks or trash trucks or whatever you call them. Garbage trucks. There you go. You don't have garbage trucks in all these different areas, so a lot of people, they just burn their trash. So you'll be driving and you'll look off to the left or the right and you'll just see stuff on fire. And they do this in Costa Rica too. I'm sure they do in a lot of different countries, but Costa Rica, I noticed in Costa Rica as well. So going back to where I would retire, I'd like to say Colombia would be Colombia is my number one at this point, but I don't know. I'm going to do some more traveling and we'll see. I was considering Thailand, or I thought about Thailand until I actually came down to Thailand, and it's the food thing. I like the food in Colombia. I didn't really like the food too much in Thailand, so I would lean more toward Colombia. Plus, Colombia is more modern. The infrastructure is better. Like, they have better roads, just nicer conditions. So, plus, like in Medellin, it's 75 degrees pretty much all year round. So that's good. See this little monument here? This is like the queen or the king. I think that's a queen. So they have these everywhere throughout the country. So that's right now. I would say Colombia, but who knows? Like, I've gone to some different places that were okay, like Aruba. Aruba is really nice, but it's just too small for me. I need more. Like, I don't want to be just confined to a small island like that. But Aruba was nice and very Americanized, and the beaches are really nice. So that would be a nice place to retire, although it's a little more expensive out there. Other places, I've been to Costa Rica. Costa Rica's nice, but I didn't really like it that much. Like, they have some nice stuff there, but I just wasn't really feeling it. And plus, it isn't that cheap to live. Like, it's a very common place for people from the U.S. to go live, but it's not that cheap. And I'm looking, honestly, if I'm going to spend a lot of time in a different area, I want to live at the level that I'm living now or better. I don't want to live at the level that I'm living now or lower, if you know what I mean. So I don't want to go to the place where I have to spend all this money for a condo or what have you. I want to be in a place where it's affordable and I can live comfortably on retirement money. So that's kind of where I am when it comes to that. Let's see. Theo, Costa Rica is perfect place to go if you know you are. What? It's the perfect place to go if you know you are to die in 3 months. So what do you mean? I don't know what you mean by that. Drink goat milk and walk uphill all day. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of hills out there in Costa Rica. That is true. Goat milk. I don't drink goat milk. I've never had goat milk. Um, yeah, so definitely number one would be Colombia. Number two, probably Aruba. And those are like the two right now. I mean, I've been to Paris. I'd never lived there. It's not horrible. It's a good place to go and take pictures, but it's not like a place where I'd want to spend a lot of time. Uh, and where else have I gone? I need to go to some more places in South America. I think South America is probably a place where I would want to spend a lot of time in general. All right, so okay, so you put your channel up there. So you guys check out his channel, and like I said, Theo, just we need to hook up on Google Hangout when you get to wherever you're going. You could show me the town out there. Show me what's going on. I don't know why my link doesn't pull up a link, does it? Let's see here. Okay, just give me 1 second, guys. Oh, it doesn't pull it up. All right, I'll have to pull that up later. It's not I can see it, but it's not popping out of that. Okay, so now that I pull it up, I can't get my chat fixed. All right. All right, let's see. Acapulco, Mexico is a sleeper city. Let's see, right outside the main city. It's amazing. Yeah, Acapulco, that's a place that I'd like to go to. And I do kind of bypass. I kind of bypass bypass Mexico. I don't know. I mean, it's so close, I guess. I don't really think about it. But there's some places in Mexico. One of my coworkers is all into Mexico, and he's telling me, yeah, you should go here, you should go there. But I always kind of think when I'm traveling, I want to go like further. So kind of bypass Mexico. And then the experiences I've had in Mexico are it's just been on cruises. So you don't really get a full experience in Mexico going on a cruise. It's just not it's not the same thing. You're going to Ensenada when you're on a cruise. You go to Ensenada, you get out, you're off the boat for 7 or 8 hours. You walk around, drink, eat, whatever you want to do, then you get back on the boat. So you're not there at night, and you don't really get you don't get a good experience of being in another country. Then it goes, where are the other places? Cabo San Lucas, and I've been to Cabo probably 4 or 5 times. Been to Ensenada way too many times. Every cruise you go on pretty much goes to Ensenada, at least one stop in Ensenada. And that's the cruises that are coming out of Los Angeles. And where else did I go? I can't even think of a couple other places. Puerto Vallarta, went to Puerto Vallarta. But they're day trips, so you don't get that full experience. So definitely. And I guess we could talk a little bit about travel. I don't know if you guys have gone on cruises before. A cruise is a good thing to experience once. That's just my opinion. Do it once so you can experience being on the boat, eating the food, doing all that, nightlife, all that. It's fun, but it's good for one trip. And then after that, I would fly to these different destinations because you want to be in the city. You want to be you want to see it at night. You want to get the full experience. And it's hard to get the full experience if you're just on a boat, because the routine is they get there early in the morning, and then you can get off the boat and you'll be out about, and then you have to get back on the boat at a certain time, and then they go to the next island, they go to the next destination. or sometimes you'll be out at sea for a couple of days, just depending on where you're going. And so you spend a lot of time on the boat, and you don't spend very much time in these different countries. So it's for me, it's good to experience it once. I've been on 6 or 7 cruises actually, and it's all pretty much the same. Different boats, still pretty much the same setup. Okay. Okay, let's see. Pull up another day. No Americans at all there anymore. So you say no Americans in Acapulco? Yeah, so he's talking about Acapulco. I think he's talking about no Americans. I never do the resort thing. I stay and eat where the locals are. Way cheaper. I adore Mexican culture like Colombia. Most people there never travel and have bad perceptions towards the countries. Yeah, that's true. So he's talking about just eating where the local people eat, and the Mexican culture, and just the Latin culture in general. And a lot of people, and that's good that you raised this, Theo. When it comes to like different countries, especially if it's like Mexico or Colombia or countries that have a history of there's been violence in the past, people are really afraid. People have never gone to these countries. They're really afraid to go to these different countries, or they talk bad about these countries, but they've never been there before. And I always call people out on that, like especially because I like going to Colombia. There'll be a lot of situations where people ask you, "Hey, so where are you going?" "Oh, I went to Colombia," or "I'm going to Colombia," and they kind of give you that look, like, "Why are you going to Colombia? Like, there's nothing there." "Oh, when was the last time you were there? When did you come back from Colombia?" "Oh, I've never been there." "Well, how do you know there's nothing there?" "Oh, well, people tell me, or I saw it on TV, or what have you." So people don't experience things for themselves. They just tell you, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't go there because of this. You shouldn't do that because of this." But they don't have any real life experience. They're just speaking from ignorance is what it is, because they don't know. So they're just telling you what they think it's like, even though they've never been there. So that happens a lot. That does happen a lot when you talk about some certain countries. And it's bad. Actually, there's a lot of different places like you could talk about, and people are all like, why are you going there? Why would you do that? Why would you pay $1,300 to go to Thailand and this and that? And they've never gone anywhere, but they're quick to tell you how to spend your money. So yeah, that is a good point. People they don't have the experience, but they'll tell you. They'll tell you what they think about going to different places. All right, so we're still on the road here. There's not much here now. It's kind of quieted down, and we'll talk a little bit more. If you guys have questions, please post them before we go. And Theo, thank you for all your input there. And are you going to be doing videos when you go to the DR? Or when you go, where you said you're going to DR and you're going to Spain, right? Is that what you said? And you're still traveling like every 2 weeks? That's crazy. So are you using points? Like how are you doing all this traveling? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, put out some videos, and then I want to do a hangout. I've never done a hangout actually, a Google Hangout. Well, we should do a hangout where you tell me your experiences in the DR, and I think you said Spain too, right? Every 2 weeks, never spent any points. So wow, okay. But are you using cards? Are you using travel reward cards? You just haven't used your points yet? Because you can make out, I'm telling you, if you're paying for all these trips, get a couple of credit cards, get those points. Even though you're not spending points, there's gonna come a time where you're gonna want to use those points. And I would be collecting them. My, yeah, let's see. Oh, I have 42 credit cards. Okay, so you already have credit cards. Wait, am I reading this wrong? Every 2 weeks, never spent any points. I don't get that. So are you using points or you're not using points? All right, let's see. See, and you can kind of see if you're looking where my mouse cursor is. See this mountain right here? And they're more, when you get into Krabby, you can see it a lot better, but these mountains here, they're really nice looking, like they're different. Very distinct, like they don't look like, if you take that picture and you look at it, it doesn't look like anything that I've seen in the U.S. They had these mountain ranges, especially when you go on these cruises, not cruises, I'm on cruises still. When you go on these boat rides, like, so when we got to Krabi, we took a boat ride, so you have to take a boat ride out to the islands, to Hong Island and James Bond Island. And so when you're on the way, you can see these mountain ranges, and they're pretty nice setup. And then you can also take these, what do they call those boats? Oh man, I can't think of what they call the boats. Just these little boats. And I have to finish editing this video, but I have a video of me getting on one of these, of us, we were riding on these little boats, and we got beached in the middle of the water. And that was pretty interesting. So we're riding along, just going and going and going, and then all of a sudden we hit the sand. But we're in the middle of the water, so it's like you have the water out there in Krabi. This is when we went to Krabi. So the first night we went out to, or first day we went to an island. Was it the first day? I think it was the first day. We went to an island, and then, no, it wasn't the first day. I'm sorry. The first day we didn't go to an island. The first day we got there, we just kind of checked in, did the nightlife stuff, and then the next morning we went to an island. And then we came back, and we were going to stay another night. So when we came back, I didn't want to like go to sleep or anything. I was tired, but I still wanted to do something. It was just before sunset, so I told him, "Hey, I'm going to go." My buddy didn't want to do it, so I'm going to go on one of these little boats. I can't think of the name of the boat. It's bugging me. But there's a little wooden boat, basically, and I get on the boat, and we're going, and it's murky water, so you can't see the ground. You can't see. It's just like a river. It's a Krabi River is what we were on, but it's very like muddy, so you can't see down, so you can't see if you're in shallow water. So we're going, and we get to an area, and I just told him, "Hey, just take me out." And we caught a ride with this guy the same day that we got there. So the first day we got there, he took us out, and we took some pictures. And then I said, "Hey, I want to take me out again. I want to take some more pictures." So he took me out the next day, and we took me out the next day. We're riding along. I go take some pictures at sunset. We're on our way back, and we just hit the sand. So I'm sitting in the front. He's in the back, and he's got this longtail. It's a longtail boat. He's got the rudder in the water, and then all of a sudden just whoosh, stop. And we're stuck in sand. And so at first I didn't know what to do. Like, okay, I'm stuck in the sand, and he has a buddy with him on the boat, and so they're jumping off the boat and trying to move the boat around. I'm thinking, what do I do? So I get out and I help them. So we're standing out here waist high in water and trying to push the boat, and we're in the middle of like the river, and I'm trying to push the boat. Like, you see these mountains here, that's what I was talking about. I'm trying to push the boat, and we're all trying to push this boat, and finally we get it off, and we're able to take off and go. But it took a little bit of moving to get this boat. It was it was crazy. And I'm not an avid swimmer, so I mean, I can swim to save my life, but I'm out in the water, and one step I can just go right into a deep part of the water, because it's deep. Like it's deep, but we happen to hit this sand that had formed up in that certain area. All right, let's see. 42 cards. Nice. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that now, and my question for you, Theo, is how do you manage 42 cards? Because I have 4 cards, or I have 6 cards, and I only use 4, and it's not nerve-wracking with the 4 that I have, because I've kind of set the dates where I make my payments. They will allow you to do that, to kind of say, okay, I want to make my payments on the 15th and the 1st, or however you want to do that. But it is a challenge, even just to have 4 cards. I can imagine if it was like 42. Let's see. Let's see. I just paid my internet, utilities, condo, HOA fees, and home car and insurance. I just prepaid my internet. Okay. As far as how I get to travel, I have 10-year-old daughter, and I have 7 days on, 7 days off, 50-50 custody, so no child support. No car, no, bought condo in cash, no bills at all. Damn, that's good, Theo. You're doing really good, man. I get full VA compensation and SSDI, so I have 14 days a month to do what I want. Personal Capital app keeps track. Oh, okay, Personal Capital app is what you use. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. 42 credit cards, the most I've ever heard. Wow, that's good that you're making it work. But it sounds like, from what you're telling me, is you're just collecting points at this point. You're not really using your points for anything. About 150,000 American Amex points, 500,000 Hilton. Opening all 3 Hilton cards. Yeah. Yeah, Hilton. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Hilton. I don't know. Like, I haven't really. You know what? Let me back that up. Well, I'm still not a fan of Hilton. The last hotel that I stayed in, it was a Hilton hotel, and it was nice. So they're growing on me. Let me just say that. But I haven't gotten a Hilton card, mainly because I wasn't really. I'm not happy with the hotels. I've stayed there a few times, and I'm just not happy with the hotels. But I went to Vegas a couple weeks ago, and my uncle was getting married, so he had a few rooms and stuff all set up, and so we stayed. We didn't stay on the Strip or anything. We were near where he lives in Lake Las Vegas, so we stayed there, and this Hilton was nice. It was a nice hotel, and it wasn't very expensive to stay there. So, but it was a real nice. It was like a hotel resort spa kind of thing, but it was a nice hotel. So I was impressed by that Hilton, but I don't know. I just haven't been really a fan of Hilton. I did there are these things that you can do called like a I can't think of, like a challenge. What's it called? Status challenge. So you can do status challenges. And I had Hyatt at the time. I still have status with Hyatt, but I was at the highest status. I was at Globalist when they first started that whole Globalist thing. And so I did a status challenge over to Hilton. And so when I say a status challenge or a status match, basically, let's say you have, in my situation, I had the Hyatt Globalist status. That's the highest status that Hyatt has. Other hotel chains will try to poach you or bring you over to them. So what they'll tell you is, hey, we'll honor, like, you can come over to us. We'll give you our highest status. So we'll give you the Hyatt or the Hilton Diamond status, I think is what they call it. We'll give you that for 3 months. And then we'll give you a challenge. So if you stay 9 days or 10 days within that 3-month period, then we'll give you that for the rest of the year. And if you get it at the right time, so let's say you get it after half the year, so you get it in July. I think it's July. If you get it in July, then they will give you, if you do a status change or status challenge at that time, they'll give it to you for the rest of the year plus the year after that. So you can get it for really 1.5 years if you work it right. And so I did one of those status challenges. And actually, they matched me, so they gave me the status, the diamond status, for 3 months. I stayed, and so I went and I stayed at Hilton a couple of times, and I didn't like the experience. So I didn't I didn't even go through the whole challenge to get to that diamond status and have that for another year. So that's how much I didn't like my experience. Now, if my experience was good, definitely I would have jumped on it and tried to get that diamond status. But at the time, I didn't really like it. And then I went to the year after that. I went to Hawaii, and when we went to Kauai, we have a timeshare in Kauai, so we stayed in the timeshare, and then we wanted to stay 2 extra nights, so we stayed those 2 extra nights at a Hilton. And I didn't like it. It just wasn't a nice hotel. It was on the beach. You would think it would be nice, but it just wasn't nice. The experience wasn't good. And they had like the meal, like they didn't give you a free meal. I didn't have status, so I wasn't able to get a free meal, and I didn't book it. Like, we did it through a travel agent, and so they gave us kind of like a fee. They gave us a credit so we can get a meal, but we didn't have, like, they give you like $60 credit. Let's put it that way. And the meals, breakfast was like $27 for breakfast per person. So that's insane. So that, I mean, it's just, I was not impressed at all on that trip. And so that was my last trip before Vegas. And when I went to Vegas, yeah, it was a better experience. Positives about Hiltons, there are more places than Hyatt. Hyatt is the low man on the footprint as far as having all these different hotels. So if you're staying at a Hilton or if you're staying at a Marriott, you have a wide variety of different hotels that you can choose from. The problem with Hyatt is you don't have as many, which means if you're trying to redeem for points and things like that, you could get in a situation where they don't have any available hotel space, or they don't even have a hotel. Like, you go to Medellin, they don't have a Hyatt there yet. So that's frustrating. You go to Cartagena, they just built a Hyatt in Cartagena, which is really nice. But in Medellin, no, they don't have one yet. So you kind of have to wait, or you stay at a Hilton, or you stay at an Airbnb, or you stay at a Marriott, because that's all that's available. All right, loyalty lobby. Let's see. Hilton in Turkey, China, and a few other places has redemptions of only 5,000 points for 5 stars. Okay, that's pretty good. That's really good, actually. Only 4 or 6 cards, the rest in the background. Okay. So you're saying you only use 4 to 6 cards, and then the rest you just have on you? I think that's what you're saying. Let's see. Hyatt is better than Hilton and Marriott. I've never been inside a bad Hyatt. Yeah, so Theo's saying that Hyatt's better than Hilton and Marriott. He's never been in a bad Hyatt. I would agree, like, as far as they have a smaller footprint, but I do like Hyatt. I have the Hyatt card. I stay at Hyatt whenever I possibly can because their hotels are nicer. Like, you know what you're getting, and they're clean. The only thing that I don't like, depending on where you stay, like if you stay at a Hyatt Regency or the higher end Hyatts, if you don't have status, you're not going to get free breakfast. So just like the Hilton, where you have to pay for breakfast. Now the Hilton does, I think if you have even gold status, I think they give you free breakfast, which is good. That's a good perk. But the Hyatt, you have to have globalist status or they're not going to give you breakfast, which I don't understand why. But the workaround when it comes to that is if you stay at a Hyatt Place, and a Hyatt Place is kind of their, when I say lower end, I don't mean it's cheap and nasty and dirty. I just mean it's their kind of their entry level hotel is a Hyatt Place. So it's Hyatt Place, Hyatt House. Those are kind of at the same level. Hyatt House is more long term. So if you're staying for a longer period of time, you have a little kitchen and all that stuff. And then you have the Hyatt Regency, and then you have the Park Hyatts, and it goes up the chain like that. But if you stay at a Hyatt Place or a Hyatt House, you do get free breakfast, and they're pretty good. It's not a bad breakfast. If you like, when I was in Costa Rica, I stayed at a Hyatt Place. When I was in Thailand, when we were here, I stayed in a Hyatt Place, and the breakfast is pretty good. I mean, it's a full spread. It's not just like just like muffins and coffee and stuff. That you actually can get some food. It was pretty good. Although Thailand, the whole food thing, like their their free breakfast was, it was, it wasn't that it was limited. It's just the food. They didn't have like. I'm learning this. When you go to different countries, their idea of sausage is like hot dogs, or their ham is not like ham that we would eat, like the thick ham. Like, you know, if you get ham out here, even if you go to like Denny's or something, you get ham. It's like that thick ham, right? Their ham is like sandwich meat, like the thin slices of ham. So you just learn different things like that. Like the bacon was really not the way that I like to eat bacon. It's like really like undercooked, and I like it like overcooked. So it's just an experience, and you learn. I mean, it's just the way they make things is a little different, but they still offer that, so that's good. All right, let's see. Also, to save money on 5-day trip, I usually only stay at a nice place the middle days, and the first and last day I stay in a hostel. Okay, I want to ask you about hostels, Theo. So I've never stayed in a hostel before. I can't see myself ever staying in a hostel, and the main reason, well, for me, the main reason is my equipment. So I have a lot of camera equipment with me, and I'm just fearful of that getting stolen. But I do know people stay in hostels, like, and especially like, if it were my own room hostel, maybe I would consider it. And I pretty much, like when we were in Thailand, we stayed in some stuff that was pretty much like a hostel, but it was your own room. Like when we went to Koh Phi Phi Island, we didn't have any plans. When we got there, we wanted to stay the night because we wanted to take some pictures at sunset and at night. And so we just got whatever. And we didn't know exactly what we were getting. And when you go to Koh Phi Phi Island, you have to walk everywhere. There's no cars or anything like that. So they're telling us, oh yeah, it's just right up the hill, and you know. So we got our hotel, but we didn't see it first, so we just had to walk out there. But they told us, hey, if you get there and you don't like it, you can just come back and get your money back. So we went out there, and it was fine. Like, I mean, it was very bare bones. Let's just put it that way. But it would do, and it faced the water, it faced the sunset, so it was perfect. So I was able to just get out and take pictures, and then in the morning, the sun rose on the other side, but I was still able to take some pictures in the morning as the sun rose. And so, yeah, but hostels, yeah, I gotta have my private room. Let's see, what did she say here? I love Thailand, but even I agree the food was not that good. Okay. And I'm not picky. Like, when it comes to food, and this is Theo saying this, but for me, I'm not a picky eater. Like, I can eat most things, but I just didn't, I don't know, the way it was prepared was just a little different for me. Even if you get like food that you would think you kind of know what it tastes like, and I have this thing, and I don't know, maybe it's just in my head, but pizza pretty much always tastes the same everywhere I go. And because it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, it's tomato paste and dough and the toppings. So it very rarely tastes different. But even in Thailand, I wasn't really even digging the pizza. Like, I go to Colombia, they have some really good pizza out there, believe it or not. Let's see. I get private room when I do the hostel thing. I try to smell random fee. So yeah. So Theo saying he gets a private room at when he does the hostels. Yeah, I would have to. I would have to have a private room. But yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I just never really looked into the hostels. Matter of fact, when we went to Costa Rica, or not Costa Rica, when we went to Cartagena. The first time I went to Cartagena, this was like 8 years ago. We met some girls out there, some Americans, and it was actually a funny story how we met, because I didn't anticipate the lack of English speakers in Colombia. I was just thinking, like, because I had gone on a couple of cruises to Mexico, and I thought, oh yeah, everybody speaks English, so they'll at least know some English. But when we got there, it was nothing. Like the people at the hotels, the first hotel, actually both hotels, there was one person there that spoke English at each of the hotels that we went to, and they were like our go-to. They were the only person that we could talk to, really. But no one spoke English, and so we went on this, like they call it Roomba. It's a bus, it's like a party bus. You go on the party bus. We took it all around, and it drops you off at a club at the end of the night. It takes you to a variety of different clubs, but then it drops you off at one club, and then you have to walk wherever you want to go. It doesn't take you. I don't think it takes you. I think it does take you back to the hotels. But who wants to go back to the hotel? You're still out. It's still like maybe 12 o'clock at night. So who wants to go home? So we were going to walk to the walled city, and so we were walking to the walled city, and we see these two girls walking in front of us, and like I said, everybody speaks Spanish, right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, we'll speak Spanish, and so here I am with my very little Spanish, and I'm saying something to these girls in front of us, like she's saying hello, like hola or whatever. So one girl turns around, she laughs, and the other girl looks at me like, are you crazy? Like, you don't realize that we're American? Which I didn't. And so that was funny. So anyway, we hung out with them for a couple of days, but they were staying in a hostel, and it looked cool. Like we went over, we couldn't go in the hostel. I don't know if we could have gone in or not. I didn't even ask. But one night we walked them back to the hostel, and we were walking back, and it looked kind of cool because we looked in there, and it was like everybody kind of like hanging out, and I don't know if they were drinking or playing cards. They were doing something, but they were all like in a group. So it looks like it's more social than if you stay at like a hotel. Because you stay at a hotel, you kind of go to your room. Very few people are kind of congregated all out in like a central location. But this hostel was so small, like you come out and like that's your little area right there where everybody just kind of hangs out. So that was cool. And then another thing too is the whole time we were there, we probably didn't meet these girls until this was probably the third night. I think we were in Cartagena for like 6 nights. So our third night, that's when we met these girls. And then we realized that everybody in that area at those hostels, they were all from other countries. They're all from America or from England. They're pretty much all speaking English, basically. And so we were like, okay, well, this is where like all the Americans and people who speak English are. Because prior to that, very few people that we ran into, like I didn't hear English being spoken. It was very few people I heard speaking English. But then when we got there, everybody was speaking English. So it was pretty cool. Let's see. Okay, so Altered Illusions is saying some could be nice. He's also saying I stay at a hostel all the time. Big money saver. My holidays are 30 days long. Okay. So that makes sense. Like if you are staying for 30 days. Now what I did do, was it the last trip that we did to Colombia, I did the Airbnb thing for the first time. And I like that. Like staying in Airbnb was nice. Like I would definitely do that again, especially if you're with another person. If you can get a pretty good deal on the hotel or the Airbnb, then it makes all the sense in the world. And my buddy's more of like, he wants to be more staying in like a real nice place. All I need is 2 bedrooms. Bedroom for me, he can have his own bedroom, bathroom, and kitchen, washer dryer. If they have that, washer dryer is kind of a must for me. And you could make out like $80, $70 for that 2 bedroom, and then you guys split that. That's a real good deal. So that's something that I'll definitely do in the future if I go back to, or when I go back to Colombia. But I don't know, hostels, I don't know. I gotta have my own space, and even if it's a private room, I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to try. I'll have to do it once just to see how it is. But I understand what you're saying, Theo, where you do kind of you kind of split it up. So you'll do hostel plus stay at a nicer hotel. That makes sense. All right. Yeah, so yeah, I do see that they're very social, or at least the hostel that I saw. And these girls were, they were flight attendants, and they lived in Las Vegas, and so they fly all over the place, and they would fly like they're always traveling together. And so, you know, we became friends after that. They're on my Facebook and all that, so I still see them. I believe they're still flight attendants, but they're still traveling all over the world, which is a great way. I was washing the lens because I have and this is on the top of the hood of the vehicle, but I have a little, it's streaming on my phone, so I'm able to see what it's seeing. So I saw that it started raining a little bit, so I got on there, so I just cleaned it off. So now you can see we're nowhere. Like, there's nothing out here in this area. Just very, very remote area. So, and it's funny too, I don't have this on video, but you see elephants just walking on the side of the road, which is crazy. That shocked me the first time I saw it. And I don't know if you've ever stood next to an elephant, but I had the opportunity when we went to the elephant sanctuary. Elephants are huge. Now, you see them on TV and you think, yeah, elephants are big, but if you're standing next to an elephant, those things are massive. And so we're driving along the road, and this is a busy road, and I look over it and I see elephants walking. And it was like one of those elephant rides or whatever. I didn't want to do that. We did the sanctuary because it's, you know, it's where they have the elephants, but they're not doing all these elephant rides and all. I didn't want to do that. I'm not into that kind of stuff. And I hear that they don't treat those elephants right. So that's why we went to the sanctuary. But elephants are huge. They're big animals. It's pretty crazy standing up next to one, because all they need to do is swing that trunk and they knock you 20 feet away. I mean, they're that big and powerful. All right, so I'm not gonna keep going on. I mean, we've been going on for a while now, but I just wanted to show you some footage of this. So what I'll do, and in future videos, we'll kind of do this too, where we'll show some of this and we'll just do kind of chat. But then I'll still talk about the kind of a topic. So whatever that topic is. Usually I do the credit cards, and what I want to start doing too with the travel reward credit cards is reviewing a card. And I did this in the last stream where I reviewed a card, and then I also did, I showed you how I can book for, you know, I can book a trip to, I think I booked it to Medellin, book a trip to Medellin, how many points it would cost to do that. Because a lot of what goes on is people get these travel reward cards, and they get these points, and you have these points, but you don't know how to use them, and you don't know what it's worth. So you don't know that, oh, okay, 25,000 points, that's about how much I need if I want to travel from Los Angeles to New York. Or when I did it, I think it was 40,000 points or 45,000 points. I can't remember exactly how many points I needed, but 40,000 points is how much I need to travel to Medellin. So I want to really focus on that, because a lot of what people do is they get these points and they don't know how to use them, so they just keep them. It's like, oh, well, I don't. The easiest way to use them probably is just to use it for hotel stays, because you have a lot of points that you can just, I mean, it's easier. Like, I can get on a website and see, okay, I need 20,000 points to stay at this Hyatt, so I put the 20,000 points in and stay at the Hyatt. But when it comes to airfare, it's a little different, because there are different variables, and you can fly in a different airline that's under the same alliance. So you might not see something on United, but you can fly in a different airline that's on that alliance and use points there. You can call in and get your ticket that way. So there are different little loopholes and sweet spots that you can find that you can really make out. But I want to start doing that, showing you how you can actually use those points if you want to use it. So if you wanted to go to Medellin, this is how many points you would need. For the most part, this is how many points you would need. If you got this credit card and hit that minimum spend in 3 months and got the 40,000 points, well, now you can use those 40,000 points, and there's your free round trip ticket to Medellin. Or Thailand, for example. If you want to go to Thailand, this is what I did, this is how I use my points, that kind of stuff. And then when I do start booking trips, which I haven't booked a trip yet this year, but when I start booking trips, which I want to do a trip in April or May for sure. I was planning on doing one in February, but I think I'm gonna hold off on that only because I need to get my passport and everything all squared away. So I might not have it in time, so I'm not gonna book anything until I get my passport renewed. So once it's renewed, then I'll be set to book. So probably April or May, and then I'm going to Kauai in June, so late June. That trip is already planned, actually, but I haven't. It's planned because it's a timeshare, so we know we're going. But I haven't bought my ticket, my airfare, so I'm gonna have to do that. And then I'll probably do a trip in August, September, and then at the end of the year I'll do another trip. So that's kind of my plan, and I'm planning on doing 4 months or every 3 months. I'm trying to do it. Is it every 3 months? Yeah, every 3 months I'm trying to do a trip. So that's just kind of the way that I like to do it, and I've been doing that for the last 2 years, and it's worked out really well. All right, other questions? Let's see. Flight attendants didn't know you was a Mac Daddy. Soprano, you should put international player under your YouTube description. Yeah, right. No, I'm far from that. But yeah, it was just kind of a funny situation because we were yelling at these girls and they looked at us like, what? You guys are silly. Yeah, let's see. I have no idea how to use my 80K AA points or my 150,000 Amex points. 80,000 points, and this is just off the top of my head, but 80,000 points is good enough for a first class. If I were flying to another country overseas, let's say, where'd you say you're going? You're going to Spain, right? That return flight, you can do a first class flight back, and that experience will blow your mind. And on most airlines. Now, if you can find like the high end, I went on British Airways, which is, it's a good airline to fly, but the only thing is their taxes and fuel, they charge you a lot for that. So you can use points, but when you do the taxes and fuel, it was like $600 they charged me for that. And the only reason that I went ahead and did it is because I had the Chase Sapphire Reserve and I had just gotten my $300 credit. Travel credit. So I used a $300 travel credit, so it came to $300 to book. And so that's the only reason that I did it. Now, initially I booked, and this was the trip that I took to Paris. So I remember I told you I spent like $300 total. Well, that was my that's initially how much I spent. It was $300, and I had my round trip ticket. So I already had my ticket. I was flying back on United, I believe. So I had it all booked. But what I did is I had these points on my AA card, my Advantage card, and so I said, you know what, I want to fly first class on the way back, and so that's why I booked the first class. But I already had my trip booked. But what I did is I canceled the flight, and they actually, when you cancel the flight, they gave me my points back, and then I booked the American Airlines flight. Which, when I'm saying American Airlines and British Airways are partners, so they're alliance. So if you book on American Airlines and you're flying back, I'm flying from Paris back to the U.S., they will tell you when you're booking it on American Airlines that it's going to be a British Airways airplane that you're flying back on. So that's how that all works. So I used my points through American Airlines, and then I was able to fly back on British Airways. But that, I'm telling you, was $600 for the taxes and fuel. Now, after the flight, that first class flight, totally worth it. That's an experience of a lifetime. I've never felt so pampered in my life. And this is on a plane. Like, just having people waiting on you hand and foot. You have like 3 different flight attendants that are there, like getting you anything you need, and it was an experience, a real good experience. Let's say I have no idea. Okay, so yeah, 80,000 points is good enough for a first class seat. 150,000 points is good enough for a round trip anywhere. And you have American Airline, you have a American or Amex points, so you can use their travel partners. Yeah, that's good. Maybe I'll go into. I don't have American Express points, or what do they call them? Not ultimate rewards, membership reward points. I don't know even know what they call them, but I do have an AA card. And right now I only have like 18,000 points on there. But so I do know for a fact 80,000, 80 to 85,000 is what you'll need in order to book a first class flight. Now that's true first class. Now you can fly business class, you can do it for a lot less. And then you can fly economy, you can get 2 trips out of economy. 40,000 points, you can easily get 2 trips outside of the country. Now if you're flying within the US on American Airlines, with those points, it's generally about 25,000 points to fly from coast to coast. So that's generally how it works. The good thing about points too is you can do last minute flights. You don't have to, the prices don't go up, or the point value doesn't go up. So if you're looking at, oh, you know what, I need to fly somewhere next week, you can use those, get on there. If they have an available reward seat, then you can book that seat, no problem. So, yeah, those points, you can use them. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how I use my points, and maybe that can help you. Let's see. I heard I can get to Cape Town. So Theo's talking about with all those points, yeah, absolutely you could. Now, you might fly, like, one of the things, and I don't know, God, I can't think offhand, all the partners that American Express has, but you can split planes. So I can fly, let's say you want to fly, let's just say you want to fly first class up to Cape Town. 80,000 points should be plenty. You might, in some situations, you might need a little bit more. When you pull up their website, it'll show you like their different point value. And depending on when you're flying, how many stops you're going to have. If you have more stops, then a lot of times it's less points that you can use. But 80,000 can get you there easily. If you want to do economy, you should be able to do economy for 80,000 points. So that's just the AA card. Now with American Express, with 150,000, easily. I mean, you could find a round trip business class to Cape Town for 150,000 easily. You can find a lot less, like if you're going to go economy. And I don't know how you like to fly. Like me, if it's a long flight, I want to do. Here's our little stop here, our little checkpoint. So they actually stopped us here, but they just waved us through. They didn't really. I think they saw the camera on the top of our vehicle, and they were just like, "Yeah, we don't want to deal with this guy. Just let him go." But you see, they're giving people tickets and all this stuff here. Yeah. So with Amex points, use their transfer partners, their airline partners, and you can easily get there with 150,000. And that's a nice business class flight. And like I was saying, when it comes to me, see how they just waved us through? When it comes to me, if I'm traveling 10 hours or more, even I would say 6 hours or more, I want to fly business class bare minimum. And I just want to be comfortable. I don't want to be in an economy seat. If I can avoid it, I don't want to do it. If I'm low on points, like last year coming back from Thailand, I was able to fly business. I had 3 legs. I was able to fly business class on 2 of the legs, and then that last leg I had to fly economy, and that was the long leg. But I couldn't work it out any other way. Like I couldn't, even using points, there were no reward seats that would allow me to fly business class the whole trip. And so I had to just say, okay, I'm just going to have to go with it. But that economy flight, it was tough. It was really tough. And I was sitting in an aisle seat. Yeah, it was a tough flight. And I was up for, that whole trip took 33 hours. So from starting in Thailand, going to Beijing, doing a long layover in Beijing, and then going to San Jose, California, and doing a long layover in San Jose, California, and then flying back to LAX. It took 33 hours. And when I got home, I was out. I went to sleep, and I slept pretty much all day the next day. And yeah, it was pretty tough. Now, if I were in a first class or a business class, then I actually slept the first leg, so from Thailand to Beijing, I slept a little bit for about 3 hours. That was a 6-hour flight, but that was it. The rest of the trip, I was pretty much up. And then the long layovers, I'm sitting in a lounge, but I'm still not able to comfortably go to sleep. Like it was, I'm still in a lounge. I can't really just lay out and go to sleep, even though I wanted to. Let's see. Go to Cape Town in economy, 40,000 each way. Just what I heard. 40,000. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's about right. I've never gone to Cape Town. I'm actually interested in going to South Africa. That's a place where I'd want to go. So I've never really priced those tickets, but that's still under your 80,000 right there for your AA points. And what I was saying is you can do AA points for your trip up, and then use American Express points for your trip back. You can do stuff like that. So you don't have to use just one. Like you don't have. I thought back in the day you do have to have a return ticket, and usually they'll warn you. Like when you're booking a flight, they want you to show like if you go to customs, they want to see your return flight just to make sure that you're coming back. You're leaving the country. You're not just going to stay there for over the time period that you can stay. So they do want to see the return. So you might have to show them that. But I booked on different flights when I went to Thailand. I booked on different airlines, and it worked out fine. And that's another way too that you can kind of spread your points around. Let's say right now my points are mainly with Chase, so the Ultimate Rewards program. So that's where the majority of my points are. So the majority of my cards are all Chase. I have one Citi card, and that's the AA card. But all the other cards are Chase related, so I can easily transfer my points over into different Chase accounts. Now, if I want, in the situation with Thailand, I happen to have points in my Alaska Airlines account, and so I just use those points in Alaska Airlines account to fly back. And then when I flew up business class on United. So business class on United, and then Hainan Air is what I flew back, because Hainan Air is a partner of Alaska Airlines. So it sounds difficult, but really it's just like booking a flight on Alaska Airlines. All you're doing is going on Alaska Airlines, saying that you're going to use points, typing in where you want to go, and then they'll bring up all the partners, airline partners, and they'll say, okay, Hainan Air will fly you back from Thailand to the U.S., and this is how many points that you'll need to use. So you don't have to do all that thinking of, okay, well, who's a partner with Alaska or who's a partner with United. You don't have to really do all that. In most situations, you don't. Now, there are some sweet spots and some areas where you can really maximize your points, and you might have to do that research and find, okay, well, Singapore Air is a partner of whomever, so and it might not show up, is what I'm saying. So they might be partners, but it doesn't show up. If they're partners, in a lot of situations, you can use your points for United to fly on this airline, but it might not show you automatically that they're a partner. And so what you have to do is you have to call that airline and say, hey, I'm looking to book a flight on this. I have points in United. How do I do that? Is it possible for me to do that? And in some situations, they'll tell you, yeah, it's possible, and then they'll have you transfer the points over to them and then go that route, or book it through United. All right. If I blow my points on first class, I want a long flight like DF to Sydney, DF to Cape Town. Yeah, I agree with you. So Theo's saying that if he's gonna blow his points on on a first class seat, he's gonna want it to be that long haul flight. And I agree. I totally agree with you. So in my situation, if it's 6 hours or more, like If I go to Colombia, I'm not too concerned with points because a lot of those tickets I can get for less than $500. And if I really want to maximize, or if I want to use points in cash, I can do that as well. And this is another thing that I do especially if I'm going to South America. What I'll do is I can use points to go to Florida, which in a lot of situations you can go to Florida for pretty cheap. You don't have to use that many points if you go with certain airlines. So I can use points to fly to Florida and then pay cash to fly from Florida to Colombia, and that ticket is like under $200. So that's another thing that I'll do. So you can really split it up. There's so many different ways that you can work it when it comes to points, points in cash and that kind of stuff. So I don't like to, I totally agree with you. I don't want to burn a lot of points. Damn, that guy was flying. All these people are flying. Wow. I don't want to burn a lot of my points unless I'm going on a long trip. And I want to do the business class or the first class. It makes so much, it's so much better. Okay, let's see. I would do first class if I could smoke a cigar. Altered Illusions is saying he'd do first class if he could smoke a cigar. Yeah, they're not going to let you do that. But it's worth it, I'm telling you. Just do it once. Just do it once and you'll know what I'm talking about. When I say first class, I mean like an international flight, first class, seat lays all the way back, the full thing. When you pull up that ticket, if it's like that $6,000, because that flight back was $6,500 from Paris. If you pull up that seat and it says $6,500 or somewhere around that for a first class ticket, then you know you're getting like true first class. And I'm telling you, I didn't pay that money. Obviously, I used points to do it, and it cost me. I think it was 80,000 or 70. No, at the time it was 70,000. I think it's gone up now, but at the time it was 70,000 points, and that was an experience that I will never forget. So just do it once. If you have points, do it once, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Let's see. It's so weird that there is no direct flights to Bangkok or Thailand. All Bangkok is most visited city in the world. Yeah. So Theo's saying, yeah, it's weird that there's no direct flight to Bangkok or Thailand. That is weird. I mean, you got to fly. I don't know. In my situation, I had to fly to Beijing. I saw some other flights that were going through Japan or going through South Korea. So it's weird. I don't know. I don't know why there's no direct flight. Yeah, and it is a pain. Like going to Beijing was a pain. You go through Beijing, then Beijing makes you go through their security again, and then you get on a plane and then you go to Thailand, and then on the way back, same thing. Come back to Thailand or back to China, Beijing, and then you go through their security again. Then it's just, and that was the whole thing that was weird to me. It's like I'm flying into China, but I'm not leaving the airport. I'm not leaving the secured area, and I have a carry-on. So I have my personal item and a carry-on. That's all I have. So I should theoretically, since I'm coming off a plane, I should be able to go directly from that plane to the next terminal and go. But no, it doesn't work that way. You had to go through the security, and in China and Beijing, that security is they're pretty tough. Like their camera equipment, everything pretty much came out of my bag, and it has to come out of your bag. And so I literally took my carry-on and my personal item, which was my camera bag. Everything was out of those bags. I had to repack everything. So yeah, it was a little bit of a headache. All right, guys, I appreciate you all coming on, and Theo, have a good trip. And like I said, hit me up when you're out there. Maybe we can do a hangout or something. And I will check out your channel. And I think he did put it in the chat. So if anyone else sees it, check out his channel, see what he has on there. And definitely do some video while you're there. Because DR is a place that I want to go to, but it probably is not going to be like, I might do DR, then go to Aruba again or something like that, like kind of split it up. I don't want to spend too much time in DR, I don't know. Maybe I do want to spend more time. I don't know. I just don't know what I'm getting or what's out there yet. But I think that's going to be kind of a trip where I do a couple of different stops. Maybe DR, then go to Colombia or something like that. So I'll see. All right, guys. Like I said, I appreciate you stopping by. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Please like the video. It will help push that video up in the algorithms. And I will be doing every Sunday at 7 p.m. I'll be putting out a video where we're going to talk about budget travel, how to get to all these different destinations, yeah, we'll make it happen. All right. Let's see. What did it say? How do I contact you once I'm there? You're not missing anything in DR. It's just a cheap flight to me. I don't even know, how do you connect? I'll send you my email through, I guess through your channel, or I don't even know how you, I don't know how this stuff works. I think the email's in the channel. If not, and I'll put it in a chat to you or something. I think I could do